Welcome to another mechspecs.com presentation. In today's video we will be covering the MechLab. Now this is an introductory guide for newer players. Most of the people who have been playing for a little while very quickly learn to understand what the MechLab is. Now when you first click on MechLab, the MechLab tab, you will be brought to this page, which basically gives you an overview and the details of your mech and speed rating, how many tons you've used out of the mech, how many maximum tons the mech is capable of, what its current firepower rating is, heat efficiency, the type of armor you're using, the type of structure you're using, and if your mech is equipped with jump jets, also your jump jets in terms of meters. On this side you'll see things like the mech's current armament. You'll see we've got 6 medium lasers, we've got 3 in each of the arms. It'll show you the type of equipment, so we've got 17 double heat sinks on here. We've got an XL engine in here, and we've got 1 jump jet. And it gives you a nice breakdown and shows you actually where the components are stored. And down here, this is an important part when you're building your mechs. This gives you the mech's hardpoints. Now this mech is allowed 6 energy hardpoints, and it tells you where those energy hardpoints are. So this mech is allowed 3 energy weapons in the right arm and 3 energy weapons in the left arm. It is also capable of using AMS. If we had advanced modules added, the modules would be displayed down here. Now we'll cover modules a little bit later in this tutorial because it's more advanced level type information. So we'll click on loadout, and right away you'll be taken to a section of the mech. For instance, we got taken to the left arm. In the left arm you'll see that we've used 3 out of 3 energy hardpoints, and we've done that with medium lasers. Now the mech building system that PGI put together is actually very well done. It's done this way to help eliminate or at least significantly reduce boating. Splat cats aside, you will not find, Jenners running around with 7 ER large lasers and things like that. Both tonnage and restrictions come into play to help eliminate some of that. But you are not limited to the type of weapon you could put in there. So we could put in 1 flamer, because that counts as an energy weapon. We could put in 1 medium laser if we wanted. We could put in 1 small laser if we wanted. Whatever type of energy weapon you can put in, but it has to be energy based. Now because of the hardpoint restriction, it won't even give you the option for LRMs or SRMs or anything but energy hardpoints. So we had 3 medium lasers in there. 1, 2, 3. And everything is really simple to move about. It's simply click, drag, drop. Can't get any easier than that. If we click over to the right arm, you'll see that we have 3 energy hardpoints over here as well. Here, let's spin it this way so you can see. It's the right arm. We have 3 energy hardpoints this way as well. And I've got 3 medium lasers on this side. Another important thing to pay attention to is the type of engine that you have. For instance, every mech comes with a gyro, an engine, and some components you can't move, like I cannot move the gyro. But if I click on the engine section, it will actually display the minimum rated engine, which is a standard 100, to the maximum for this chassis, which is a 300 standard engine, and the same with your extra light engines, same rating, 100 to 300. Extra light is XL engine, and it basically gives you the same bang for less buck. It'll give you the same speed, but it'll take less tonnage. Now there are negatives to using XLs, and we'll get to that in a little bit later video or more advanced tutorial type things. We currently have an XL engine in here, so if you click on the XL engine, like I said, it gives you a list of everything. It's all red because we already have an engine and we don't have any spare tonnage. If we remove the XL 255, you'll see we have all these options, and these are red because we don't have the tonnage to fit them, although if we did they would be green as well. We will go back down to the 255 and put it back in. Now every mech has to drop with a minimum of 10 heat sinks. That's what's required by the mech to dissipate just normal heat buildup in normal operations. If you want to find out what type of, or rather how many heat sinks an engine has, click on the engine itself and then click on description. A standard engine with a 105 rating, click on stats. It'll tell you how many slots it uses up, the tonnage required to fit it, how many hit points that specific piece of equipment has, and how many heat sinks. Now This type of engine only has, the 105 standard engine only has 4 heat sinks, which means we have to put in 6 externals, whether it be 6 single heat sinks or 3 double heat sinks or whatever. It will not let you drop without that number of heat sinks. This engine currently has the minimum 10 heat sinks required, so I don't have to put any more if I don't want to. However, heat efficiency is very important when you're piloting a mech, and if you'll notice, I have double heat sinks on this. If I remove these, all these double heat sinks, you'll notice my heat efficiency goes down, right? That means the mech runs hotter and takes longer to dissipate heat. I never ever run a mech with this low of heat efficiency because, well, you will shut down a lot unless you're really good at micromanaging your heat, or you're able to run away, or your equipment doesn't generate that much heat. But if it didn't generate that much heat, your heat efficiency wouldn't be as low as it is anyway. So we'll put those double heat sinks back in, and you'll notice things go up to 126. We'll add more double heat sinks, and you'll notice things go up even more. Now, 1.36 is a pretty good heat efficiency rating for the type of weapons I have on here. You still have to pay attention, but on most maps, you will be able to spray and pray quite well. You'll be able to use the medium lasers liberally. That pretty much covers the equipment portion of the loadout. If we want to check on things like armor, it's very simple. This is the maximum armor, this column here, that each section of the mech can carry or hold, and this is what the current ratings are. So I have 18 armor points in the head. I can reduce that if I want, and you'll see that your available tonnage increases. I have 0.1 ton available. If I drop it, it goes down even more. And this is a more advanced way of tweaking your mech. So if you need an extra tonnage for an extra heat sink, you could take some armor out of your legs, you could take some armor out of your right arm or left arm, or wherever you don't have a lot of weapons. Armor configuration and allotment will be something that you will develop as your skill increases in the game and as your exposure in the game increases. Again, armor is very simple to figure out. There are more advanced tutorials on hitbox and armor allocation, hitbox understanding on mechspecs.com. You can go to that website and check under the guide section, and you'll find a more comprehensive tutorial on armor itself and, you know, what to place where based on hitbox location and the size of the hitboxes and things like that. In the next section, we will be covering modules. Now, modules are a kind of like icing on top of the cake. Modules are an add-on which increases specific performance enhancements within a mech. Each mech is only allowed a certain number of module slots. You can increase those by 1 if you master 3 different chassis or 3 different mechs within the same chassis type. So, for instance, there is the Jenner F, the JR7F, the JR7DF, and I think it's the Jenner K, yes. I've mastered all 3 of the Jenner type mechs. They come standard with 1 module slot. Because I've mastered them, I get the 2nd module slot unlocked. Adds 1 additional module slot to the battle mech. So all my Jenners have 2 module slots in them. Go back over here to the MechLab and I will show you what I'm talking about. Here are my 2 module hardpoint slots. Now I can put anything I want in there. I have both open. The only module that I've currently unlocked, and you have to unlock modules through the pilot tree by spending experience to do it. I've unlocked the advanced sensor range module slot. I've done that 2 times, level 2 out of 2. And what the advanced sensor range module does, it boosts your sensor range by 25%. So whatever your maximum is, add 25% more onto that distance, and you'll be able to see mechs further out before they can see you. Again, it's simple, drag and drop, and down here your cost is tabulated, 2 million C-bills for this specific module. Now, the good thing about modules is once you've bought them, you can take them out of mechs, just like you can engines, weapons, or any other piece of equipment. You can take them out and use that on another mech. So you don't have to constantly be spending 2 million C-bills. Other modules, advanced zoom, I don't really recommend this just yet because it's very grainy when you're zoomed in. Target decay increases the amount of time a battle mech is trackable. So if you lose sight of a battle mech, it goes behind a hill or whatever. Target decay increases the amount of time before its target signature disappears from your scanner. 360 degree target retention. A lot of times light mechs will run behind you and you'll lose sight of them. They'll disappear from your tracking monitor. This prevents that. Capture accelerator, if you're playing games where you like to capture bases and things, this will decrease the amount of time it takes for you to capture a base by 15%. And again, the advanced sensor range and target info gathering. Now this one's important too. This decreases the amount of time required for detailed target information by 25%. A lot of times you'll target a mech and it will take a little while before its type comes up and the type of weapons it has on board and things like that, as well as its current armor situation and status. That's important to know because a lot of people utilize this information for target selection. If someone's got a weak back armor, you know one alpha strike from your 6 medium lasers will core through its back. You're going to want to zoom in on that target. So that pretty much covers the module information and module hardpoints on each mech. In later tutorials, we'll be covering more advanced things like you know, what is the best weight savings to put into a mech? What are the weak points for a mech if you put in an XL engine? What are the benefits of XL engines? Should I use ferrofibrous armor? Should I use standard armor? Those will be later tutorials, which you can either find on MechSpecs TV on YouTube, or you can find on mechspecs.com. Now that we've covered the basics with weapons and engines and things like that, we'll cover a little bit more advanced things like upgrading heat sinks or your internal structure or your armor, things like that. Over here is a column and a tab for configure upgrades. Now every mech is allowed specific different types of upgrades. You can upgrade to ferrofibrous armor if you want. You can upgrade your structure to endo steel, or you can upgrade your heat sinks from singles to doubles. I currently have all the upgrades on this map, or rather this mech. As you can see, I've got standard armor, I've got endo steel internal structure, and I've got double heat sinks already added. It does cost to go both ways. So if these were single heat sinks and I wanted to go to doubles, it would cost me 1.5 million credits. If later on down the road, for some odd reason, I needed to go back to standard heat sinks, it would cost me 750,000 credits. And again, it's just a simple matter of drag and drop. Down here you'll see your price upgrade. The price of the upgrade is dynamically displayed down here, and as soon as you click Save Mech, that total will be deducted from your total amount of C-bills. I already have all the upgrades in here, so I don't need to do anything, but I thought it important to show you. Now, endo steel is probably the best upgrade you can get for weight savings, other than an XL engine. A lot of people like to jam in ferrofibrous armor, but I find that you get better weight savings for the number of critical spaces required with endo steel than you do with standard armor. Now, if you don't understand what I mean by critical spaces, we will go back to the section here. You'll see dynamic structure slot. These are actually, when you upgrade to endo steel, these actually automatically appear on the mech, and they are not movable. They would be movable if you were going to drag and drop a piece of equipment in there, but for instance, we will go to structure, endo steel. Endo steel requires 14 critical slots on the mech, so it does cost for the weight savings, but sometimes it's worth it. Armor ferrofibrous requires 14 slots as well, so you can very quickly run out of room within a mech. If you are running ferrofibrous armor and endo steel structure on some mechs, you won't be able to fit any weapons. That is a much more advanced tweaking to your mech and allows you to add more heat sinks and more firepowers and things like that. But I thought I would cover it for newer players, and you can experiment with this as your skill increases in the game. Alright, now that you have a general understanding and overview of the MechLab, we're going to build our first mech together. Now I've taken the Jenner, the JR7F, and I've stripped off all the components of it. So the first thing we're going to want to do is we're going to want to make sure that we've got an engine, right? So we scroll down the list until we find something that we like. in accordance with a build sheet that you've looked at, or maybe just something that you're working on, kind of your own prototype. For this one, we have an XL255 in stock, so we'll put in the XL255. It's in. We've got the 10 heat sinks. Perfect. We've got 6 energy hard points to use up, so we're going to decide what we want to do. We're going to go with medium lasers. So we'll put in 1, 2, 3, and I'm just double clicking for those to pop in. 1, 2, 3. We've used up all 6 of our energy hard points now. Looks like it's running a little hot, so let's make sure we have double heat sinks selected. Yes, we've got double heat sinks selected in there. If we didn't, we would just drag and drop that over. See, already equipped with our double heat sinks. And we want to save a little bit of weight, so we make sure our endo steel is in there. Yes, that's already equipped, as you can see. So now we'll go back over to heat sinks, and we'll put one here. And we'll put 1, 2, 3 in there to use all those up. We've still got tonnage left over, so we'll go 1, 2, 3, and we've got 0.5 tons left over. Now you can either max out your armor, or you can add a jump jet, and I prefer having a little bit of jump jet maneuverability, so we go over here to the jump jet, and there you have it. All 35 tons are used up. The mech moves at 118 kilometers per hour before the speed tweak. And as I said, speed tweak is advanced experience unlock that you can get through grinding. Firepower is at 30, which is pretty decent for a mech its size and speed. Heat efficiency is pretty good at 1.36. The higher that number is, the better. So the closer to 2 it is, the better it will be. Armor is pretty well maxed. We're only 14 points off the max. On a small mech, that's a moderate amount, but it's not something that you can't overcome. Internal structure is endo steel, and our jump distance in meters is 5 meters. We can go ahead and save that mech now. Remember, we've already got 10 heat sinks in the engine, plus we had the extras from the doubles. And now we're ready to launch. Take it for a spin and see how it works out.